Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute, it's been more than a minute, and I wish I could tell you that me not filming any booktube videos was a deliberate choice to better myself in some way, like those people that stop eating sugar for 30 days to become more energetic, more evolved humans. It wasn't like that, and it didn't help. I'm here to report you that it was useless because I am reading less and I'm doing less generally with my life, which is not net positive. I'm here today to film something because I feel like if I'm not going to film anything for another month, we're going to run into a real slump and I'm not going to come back to BookTube at all. Recently, my name is Marinas and Thoughts on Tomes came out with this fun tag that I actually think is going to make the rounds on BookTube. As we all know, the book tag industrial complex kind of died about 5 years ago, and they rarely break out and make it big on BookTube. But this one is genuinely interesting, so get to know my taste tag. I feel like my taste, as in reading taste, really changed because I've been on BookTube for a very long time now. I don't really want to count because that's gonna be a little depressing. Anyway, this book tag is pretty genius because it allows you to pick into what I find valuable about reading, the genres I gravitate to now. It's just for you to evaluate if I'm gonna be a good person to recommend books to you specifically, because we might not have similar tastes and that's fine. Maybe we have completely opposite tastes, and then when you watch my videos you'll know that if I like a book you're going to hate it. That's also valuable. How do you read books? Give a quick rundown of how you do your star ratings, or if you don't use star ratings, how you evaluate books. My star rating system, I feel like, is very common. 1-star book is a book that pissed me off, but at the same time is also unreadable craft-wise, is not well developed, is struggling with making the characters full-fleshed human beings, the romance is lacking, it has flaws. It has a lot of flaws and it's also annoying as hell. The 2-star book is a book that pissed me off. That's a very, very important point. The book that pissed me off, but it is something that I still can finish. It has some writing issues, but I can read it to the end without actually ripping my hair out of my head. The 3 stars book, it's either a book that is perfectly fine, like it's an okay book, craft-wise, story-wise, but it has not captured my interest, or it was perhaps conceptually interesting. I was into the idea of it, but it had some issues with execution. A 4 stars book is a book I really enjoyed. I loved reading it, loved the experience of reading it, but it lacked this oomph factor, a personal connection to my values, my life, my mindset. Yes, sometimes it's just a mindset, because I've read books that I've given 4 stars first and then reread them and gave them 5 stars. So it's possible. 4 and 5 are pretty similar in that I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the experience of reading it. I think it's a good book. But 5 stars is a book that I loved in all caps. It's a book that I feel like I will talk about in 6 months, that I won't forget easily, that I may even reread it, though I very rarely reread books. How do you approach reviewing books? What's your review style? Are you analytical, emotional, casual, or structured? I feel like we've talked about this a lot in the past on BookTube. It was a very controversial topic because sometimes when people are trying to evaluate their style of reviewing, they put other reviewers down. I think that sometimes this discussion about analytical versus emotional is very much versus. It's not taking into the account that no one is reviewing in one way only. There is no style that is pure analytical or pure emotional, because reviewing is highly subjective and we are full-fleshed individuals that are affected by our emotions and our personal connection to the book or to a piece of media. And analytical reviews do not exist in a vacuum. They are still reviewed by a person, and experiencing an emotional attachment to a piece of media is completely natural. Sometimes when people say, I'm an analytical reviewer, unlike you, an emotional reviewer, it's just a dog whistle for calling people dumb. Let's not sugarcoat it. In my personal opinion, trying to be objective about a review is a moot point. Reviewing spaces exist in such volume because people are interested in subjective opinions of people that they like or feel kinship with. So I try to make my reviews as subjective as possible. You will not find objectivity here because objectivity is not relevant when it comes to reviews. I don't believe that people follow me for someone else's taste in books, and I do mention things that I liked and disliked about the book, usually good and bad. I feel like it's usually a well-rounded review with perks and flaws and all that jazz. Sometimes if a book resonates with me deeply, I can overlook certain craft issues. I will mention them. I'm fine with mentioning them. I'm not covering everything up. If I've noticed, I will mention them, but they will just not affect my star rating usually and will not affect my enjoyment of the book. Though if there are glaring issues and I cannot ignore them, then it will affect the final rating. The one rule that I have about book reviewing, and I don't have a lot of rules about hobbies because hobbies are for enjoyment, not for other people. I never script reviews. I've tried in the past. I feel like it just doesn't work for me because they come off as robotic and inauthentic, and I want to be as in the moment, as present as possible when I'm filming. Plus, I firmly believe that if I don't remember a specific element, it's not worth mentioning it because it wasn't memorable enough, which means it didn't affect me that much, bad or good. It doesn't matter. The next question is, what's the book that made you a reader? Whether it was your first favorite or the one that got you hooked, what book started it all? I recently filmed a book tag talking about my reading journey, and I will just point you to that video because I just don't want to repeat myself, and it's a more in-depth video that is fun to watch if you're into this early beginnings type of stories. The next question is, do you have a genre niche? Are there certain genres you gravitate toward, or do you read widely across genres? Now, I feel like I'm a person who's open to most genres. I will not read horror, really hard-hitting horror, and I'm not that into self-help books, though I've read some. I feel like I'm open to other genres, all other genres, which might not be true and is just a self-perception, but on paper, in theory, I think I'm open to all genres. There are some genres that I like less, like epic fantasy, and there are some genres that I like more, like romance or contemporary fantasy or cozy mystery lately. But overall, I want to think of myself as a person with an open mind. I think we all want to think this about ourselves. The most conservative person wants to think of themselves as an open-minded person. So it might not be true, it's just self-perception. There are some not so popular subgenres that I feel like I'm the woman for. I read a lot of those. I don't think they're particularly popular. I don't actually know if people follow me for them specifically, but I will not stop reading these subgenres and talking about them because they are something that I just love. It's the queer historical romance. You know that I love queer historical romance. It is romantic suspense, it is dark academia. I read a lot of that genre. It is contemporary fantasy. This very specific subgenre, I don't even know if you can call it a subgenre. It's a very small subset of books about women with suspense elements and very mild horror elements. If you know, you know. It's good for her type of books with elements of horror, where the horror explores womanhood as a concept. I love these types of books, and I don't know if there is a following for this subgenre, but I definitely am a fan. I think when I started my reading channel on YouTube, I read much more literary fiction, which is so interesting to look back to. I've read more fantasy. I've read a lot of young adult, obviously, though young adult is not a genre, it's, you know, an age group. I've read a lot of things that I would not read today. Specifically, what I'm surprised by is how much mystery and thrillers I'm reading right now. I feel like it's become the genre that I gravitate to when I'm in a reading slump. The next question is, do you generally prefer character-driven or plot-driven stories? This is a very interesting question that I hear a lot on Booktube, book-related channels, TikTok, etc., etc. In reality, we all want a mix of both. Plot and characters, is just the ratio is different for different people. I personally feel like I want different things from different genres. I want more plot-driven mysteries and thrillers, though I appreciate a depth of characters in those books as well. Specifically, I really want complex villains because thrillers are far superior when they have interesting villains. I appreciate fantasy that is a little bit more character driven, though I love a bit of adventure in fantasy as well. I love well-developed characters and relationships in romance, but I also want to see conflict and I want things to happen. So for me, I guess I would want a bit more plot in certain genres and a bit more character development from other genres. But as a greedy person, I want them both. I cannot read a book that doesn't have plot at all because it's boring and it's not a good book. It's my personal opinion that I'm very firm on plotless books are not good books. They are not good books craft-wise, and you can clutch your precious plotless books close to your chest and throw tomatoes at me. I'm not going to change my mind. All those cozy fantasy books are stupid and I hate them. I'm not the type of person that cannot stand slower paced books. I read historicals, and historical genre is the slowest of genres. I can deal with slow pace. I just have to have enough suspense, enough interest to make me continue reading, planting the secrets along the way for me to be invested enough in those slower books. I'm willing to give the book a chance, always, but if it disappoints me, if it's completely plotless, I'm not down. The same thing can be said about books with very flat characters. The plot is exciting, it's action-packed, it's driven, it's fun, but the characters are paper thin. I don't like that either, though I can deal with this kind of book quicker, so it feels less like a chore, because when things constantly happen, it's just easier to get through the story. But at the end of the day, when I finish the book, I won't really remember it because the characters were not memorable. So any book should have both. Question number 6. What's a book you love so much that you don't care if others don't like it? That one book you love enough for everyone. Maybe I have a huge ego. I know that I have a huge ego. I'm confident in things that I enjoy. I don't feel the need to force people to admit that a piece of media that I like is genius, because if I feel like it's genius, it's genius. My opinion is the most important opinion for myself. So I feel like all the books that I've given 5 stars are books that I love and don't care about the opinion of others on. Some of the books from that list are, for example, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, one of my favorite books. If you don't like it, I don't care. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, I think it's deeply romantic, it's deeply tragic, it touched me, it felt deeply personal as well. Don't care if you don't like it. I love Requiem for Mortals by Lee Winter. It's a romance example. I think with romance specifically, I feel like it's such a subjective, such a personal genre that it's hard to find people that like the same things. I think it's the most subjective part of our life. That's why when I hear generalizations about romance, about romantic partners, about ideals, about perfect dates, etc., I cringe, because it's all so subjective. Nothing is gonna be appealing in the same way for different people in that regard. Even if I find a person that also loved this book, I'm pretty sure we're gonna love this book for different reasons. So yeah, at the end of the day, when I share with you that I loved a specific book, I don't feel the need to hear that you loved it as well, which in some way can be freeing. You don't have to agree with me on anything. I personally feel that disagreeing on a piece of media is so natural. Question number 7. What's a book you love so much that if someone doesn't like it, you know your reading tastes don't align? The book or books where a difference of opinion is a strong indicator of different reading preferences. If people don't like genre fiction at all, I know that they are not the type of reader I am. If they do not read fiction in general, if they're only reading from the business section of the bookstore, I just know that we're not going to vibe, because I'm reading for different reasons. And I usually notice that people who read a lot of business or self-help books are not interested in books as a piece of art. They're not interested in writing in the same way I'm interested in writing. They're using books as a practical tool. I also am very judgmental when people don't like romance at all. Specifically when they say that romance is cringe, I immediately label them as childish. To me, that's a sign of not being a full-fledged adult, because I don't know, it's just such a regular part of a human experience, and fully considering romance cringe is odd. I also know that I'm not going to vibe with someone's reading taste, or rather they are not going to vibe with mine if they're not willing to give the book time and chance. It is once again about all those slower books, historical fiction, maybe even epic fantasy, though, you know, epic fantasy is an iffy topic on this channel because I usually don't like it. People that have no patience for a slow burn are not gonna vibe with the books that I love, because I think sometimes books are a little too fast and are unrealistically quick in terms of character development and relationship development, and those elements are important for me usually. The next question is, what's in your trash pocket? What book tropes or themes you know are bad but you love them anyway? I'm usually very sarcastic about these kinds of questions, though I do believe that some tropes are a little trashy. You can do them well, you can do anything well if you're a good writer, but some are a little iffy. One of those is vampires. You know that I love vampires, and I would read anything with vampires, even the worst things, because I'm deeply fascinated with the topic. I will read fake dating, anything. Fake dating is one of those tropes that is not always done well, that is often not done well because of its popularity, but when I hear fake dating, I'm like tuned in immediately. We were dating the same guy, but now we're dating each other. It's a guilty pleasure, you guys. Obviously very into it. I've read a lot of books with this trope, sometimes even accidentally. It's particularly fun when it's an accident. I also really enjoy the brother's best friend as a love interest trope, which is very teen and somewhat cringe teen type of trope. It's very prevalent in teen romances, and I still enjoy this trope. I have to admit that I still enjoy it. Yeah. The next question is, do you have any deal breakers in books? Something that, if present, immediately turns you off from a book? Yes, obviously I do, we all do. It's hard for me to read from a point of view of a misogynistic or bigoted individual without this individual getting punched in the nuts every few pages. It's just difficult, even when the author is critiquing him, even if it's satire, even if it's, legitimate use of character. It's just complicated. I've read Ninth House recently and thought about picking up the Magician's Trilogy again by Lev Grossman, but the protagonist is so annoying in the show, and I know that he's even more annoying in the book. He's so incelish, and I cannot force myself to do it, even though I'm in love with the world and I would like to read the series. By the way, tell me if you read the series and you enjoyed it, or tell me how you coped with the protagonist. There are a lot of tropes in the dark romance realm for me that I find unpalatable. I like dark romance in theory, and I've read a few dark romance books, but I like those books when the two love interests, the two protagonists, are fighting against something dark together. They are a team. They are not hurting each other. That's something that I find interesting. But there are really strict, really firm and hard limits for me when it comes to dark romance, because unfortunately, it's just full of sexism and degradation, homophobia. It's in abundance. It's just very often derogatory. And I could stand something complex where the characters don't get along, they perhaps don't like each other or hate each other, and they are not always kind to each other, but they have to be equals in some way for me still. And I often notice that that's not the case with the dark romance, and the gender dynamic, the negative gender stereotypes are often present. It's not for me. I don't want to delve into it. On the other hand, I'm also not into friends to lovers because I don't believe in this concept. If you're attracted to someone, you're not really their friend. You're just biding time, and suddenly developing attraction to your friend feels odd to me because of how I manage my relationships and my friendships. So I'm not into friends to lovers. I don't find the trope appealing at all. Oh, how could I forget the trope, the theme that is continuing its journey across the genres, the megaverse. I'm still dying for it to die out. Yes, I cannot stand it. It's one of the tropes that is deeply patriarchal. It's deeply dehumanizing to queer people and to women. It's just deeply wrong in my opinion, and I don't care for it. A lot of the lore of this trope is built on negative gender stereotypes. I don't like it. I hate it, actually. I hate it so much. The moment I hear that it has a megaverse, I'm not just turned off, I'm angry. A megaverse is the Ahegao phase of romance. If you know, you know. I'm so sorry, I just hate it so much. Even if the point is to flip things on its head and write a non-stereotypical megaverse, I still have my hackles up because the world already is heterosexist. We know that. Why are we pretending that it's not a thing? You can just explore the same themes in a regular world and not invent stupid lore. In regards to other genres, I'm not into dragons. I actually dislike them a little bit. When I hear that the story is about dragons or features dragons heavily, I postpone reading it, even if people say it's a good book. I am apprehensive about that Samantha Shannon book, for example, which sounds like my thing, but because it has dragons, I'm kind of like, on it. I don't like time loops. I like time travel, but I hate time loops. Groundhog Day type of stories turn me off. I do not want to read them. But the next question is, what's a strong opinion you have about a book released within the last year, whether it's overrated, underrated, or just a take you need to share? I'm going to share something about Here We Go Again by Alison Cochrane, which is a book that broke me and I regret reading it because it was deeply, deeply heartbreaking, but it was also brilliant. And I think it's one of the best Alison Cochrane books that I've read. It probably is the best Alison Cochrane book that I've read. I am surprised that this book has not transcended the romance genre section of BookTube. And other people, other readers, non-romance readers, have not picked it up because, in my opinion, it has wide appeal, but because it was presented as romance and marketed as romance, it is a romance. People have not read this. It has not become that popular. I think it has potential to be more. I think it has potential to be much more popular. It just touches on so many queer community related topics, such as aging as a queer person and the connection between younger and elderly queer people. It touches on terminal illnesses and the one that got away, the importance of finding your own journey, on going on your own journey, the AIDS epidemic. It's also about education and how important it is to have an adult person in your life to guide you, to be in your corner. Just talking about it makes me want to cry again. It's a really, really good book, and I'm surprised that it has not transcended the romance community on BookTube. The next question is, what do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it prose, style, themes, voice, structure, or something else? I have a lot of unpopular opinions here. I love a fractured structure. I love it when authors are playing with the timelines, especially if the timelines are presented from the point of view of different characters. As you know, I love suspense, I love a mystery, I love piecing things together. So when I get a non-mystery book that is written in an interesting, non-linear way, I enjoy it. I love it, for example, when we get the consequences first and then go back in time to figure out what happened and what led to them. I love seeing a character develop from a very early childhood to adulthood, even to an old age. It's prevalent in a lot of fantasy books, which is one of the things that I find very enjoyable about the genre. I love those techniques. Anything where you play with time, with timelines, with structure, I enjoy it. Not time loops though. Time loops are ass. I don't like those. Themes are important for me. I would say that most books have themes. I am not in love with seamless writing. I know that's the required thing in commercial fiction now. I'm not against that either, but I appreciate it when the writing voice is distinctive enough that I can guess the order of the story. The next question is, how do you decide what to read next? Do you plan ahead, mood read, or follow external factors like hype, recommendations, arcs? I mood read most of the time, and it actually is not always a good experience and a good way to approach it, because I often flag things that I want to read later, and then when I have time or I finished a book and need to pick up another, I read something else entirely because it just appeared in front of my eyes, and I don't come back to the books that I bookmarked earlier that I actually really wanted to read. So usually it's mood reading if I don't have prior agreements or obligations. For example, if I have to read a book for a book club, I will try to read a book for a book club, though any obligations, any agreements, anything of the sort usually is annoying to me in real life as well. When I feel like I'm obligated to do something, I really don't want to do it. I don't know why. Maybe deep down I'm just a contrarian. The next question is, where do you get inspiration for your booktube content? What sparks your video ideas, other creators, trends, personal reading experiences? It's a mix of things, and I believe it's the same thing for everybody. Some ideas just pop into my head. Some ideas are me tailing a trend and knowing that people are interested in that thing right now and want to see it, want to see my opinion on it. Sometimes it's something I watched outside of YouTube realm, outside of BookTube realm, something I experienced in real life and I want to talk about. The next question is, if you could make any book go viral right now, what would it be? A book you think deserves more attention and why? I think there are two authors that deserve more attention. The first author is J.J. Arias. There is already not a significant following for sapphic romances on BookTube. There are not as many creators that read the subgenre, and usually they're reading the romances that are published by traditional publishers, the top 5, and not something indie, not something that is published by a smaller press. Usually people don't review them. So I want to bring the attention to J.J. Arias. I've read a couple of her books, and she's a really good writer. She's really, really fun. She writes very layered characters and chooses interesting concepts. I want to read more from her too. And I recently got into Josh Lanyon, which I believe a lot of people are going to vibe with. He writes a lot of cozy mysteries, historical mysteries with queer character and queer romances. And I think a lot of people that love Cat Sebastian, KJ Charles are going to enjoy his work as well. Who are some booktubers with reading tastes similar to yours? I have to pose this question to you, actually, because I do not follow people to get recommendations, really. I follow people because of their personalities, not because of their tastes. I'm more entertainment led when it comes to watching things on YouTube. So people that I watch partly share my tastes, like Riley Marie, Books with Samantha, Books Past Bedtime, Mina Reads. We have similar elements that we enjoy. We have books that we all enjoy, I believe, but we do veer in different territories and in different sections. Still, we have similarities and we also have differences. If you know anyone who is like 90% aligned with my tastes, I would like to know about them. This is the end of the tag. I found it very, very interesting. The questions are just stellar. The original videos are gonna be in the box down below. Thank you for watching this video. In the comment section you can leave book recommendations for me, and you can leave a heart in your favorite color if you reach this part of the video. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you soon, hopefully, with another video, but until then, bye.